Welcome to the Kat Mak Talk Show, where women turn their stories into visibility, authority, and success. Hey there, I'm Kat Mak, and each week we share real conversations that will inspire you to rise. Be seen and create impact. Why? Because you are saying yes to yourself, and your story matters.
And we're on.
So let me ask you this. What if what was breaking you actually molded you? What
It
if what you went through actually shaped you? So today's conversation is real, raw, and may make you feel stuff. Because I know when I read your story, it moved me because behind addiction, mental health, struggles, trauma, there is a story behind it. So thank you so much for joining me on my show where your voice has power. Your voice is your legacy. It is my duty to share it because if I don't, women like yourself will not be able to help those that have gone through stuff that can actually help you. So Michelle Markquart, thank you so much for joining me. Michelle runs a non-profit addiction recovery. You turned your pain into your passion. You turned your pain into power. You have a company that, and no, seriously, I don't even know how you got the .com, beliving.com. You have been sober for quite a while right now, and kudos to you. I'd like to know a little bit about your backstory. If you can share with our viewers how it started, a little bit about what you went through. We may be even going through an epidemic. Yeah. So,
Sure.
Michelle, mic over to you. You have lived through addiction to health trauma. What was that point? And how did you get to that point where you said, damn it, enough?
The bottom, we call it the rock bottom. How to get to the rock bottom. I'll tell you a little bit first about my growing up. When I was young, my mother committed suicide when I was 4. And so that started a pretty big trauma at a very young age. And what I now know and understand is that those traumas at a very young age, they rewire the brain and it changes how we process things neurologically. So between my mother's suicide, my father remarried fairly quickly because he needed to work and needed somebody to take care of his kids. And we moved a lot. His second wife was brought up in a very rigid home. And so she was physically abusive. And then we were sent to live with my grandmother for a while, which was the most delightful time of my entire life. I was the golden child. I didn't eat a vegetable nor make my bed for 4 years while I lived with my grandma. It was fabulous.
How old were you?
I was in 4th grade. So from 4th grade to 8th grade, I lived with my grandmother,
Ah,
and
look at your smile. There's
it was
something
the
about
best.
grandparents, right?
It was the best. She spoiled me rotten and I loved it. And then I moved back in with my dad and he remarried his 3rd wife, who is
Wow.
still with us. And she came back she came into his life just as I was getting him back. So I, of course, was very jealous and did not care for her much at all. So it was just very bumpy. And then I started college and I struggled with depression from a very young age of with no surprise, right? With the history. I didn't realize that I also had a tremendous amount of anxiety. I wouldn't learn that until jeepers, 40 years later when I got clean and sober. I had no idea. So a lot of those things all sort of added up and I struggled to feel like I fit in. We moved around a lot. And when I discovered alcohol in high school, all I knew was I didn't feel like I didn't fit in anymore. I felt like I didn't worry about it. If I didn't fit in, I didn't care. It didn't matter. And that gave me a relief that I just didn't have anywhere else. And so that was the beginning of my addiction. I didn't realize it at the time. So in high school, my first introduction to alcohol, it got bad in my 20s and I knew it was starting to become a problem. And so I did quit for 3 years on my own. And then I got to the point where I thought, well, maybe I don't have a problem because I quit for 3 years and I seem to be fine. And so I
How did you
decided
quit? Did you go cold turkey? Did you get help?
I put myself into a facility to try and get some help. I didn't stay there for the whole time. And then what ended up happening was I had met a boy and he recognized that the way I was drinking was not okay. His father was an alcoholic. And so he recognized the pattern pretty quickly. And he said, "You're an alcoholic. And if you keep drinking, I'm going to leave." And so my fear of abandonment and losing him was greater than my desire to have the alcohol. And I knew at that point that it was a problem. And so I was frankly kind of grateful to have someone call me out on it and not let me continue down that path. What I didn't realize was that also all of the mental health stuff was still going on. So I had a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms. I had um, a lot of thought patterns that they call cognitive distortions that I've now learned a lot
Okay.
about. How we can have black and white thinking, it's all or nothing. We expect people to read our minds. If you really knew me, you would just know what I wanted and what I needed. It's like, oh no, it doesn't. The world actually doesn't work that way. So I learned a lot about cognitive distortions when I got clean and sober because I had to learn and understand what was going on in my mind and what was truth and what was ways my mind was making things up or not necessarily seeing reality clearly. So I stayed clean and sober for 3 years for that relationship, and when that relationship ended was when I thought, "Oh, well, maybe I'm not an addict, maybe I don't have a problem," because I hadn't gone into treatment or anything formally. So I started dabbling with alcohol again, and I will tell you that every fiber of my being I remember picking up that first glass of wine, it was my 30th birthday, and just everything in my body was screaming, "Don't do this."
Really?
Oh, my whole body, my nervous system, my brain, my psyche, everything was just like, "Don't do this." And I'm like, "It's gonna be fine." And the first hit that to my lips, and it was like, my friend was back. And then I spent a very long time trying to manage it so that it would stay under control, where I could use it just to relax or whatever. And eventually, the thing with alcohol or any substance is that you use it and your body becomes accustomed to it. And so to achieve the same result, you need to ingest more and more and more. And eventually, I got to the point where my body just absolutely could not be without it. I was psychologically addicted to it far before I was physically addicted. But once the physical addiction took over, it was game over. I could not stop on my own. That struggle lasted almost 20 years that I
Wow.
tried to stop. There'd be times I would try to stop. I kept it under control for a long time. It started to get really bad when my kids were probably like 10 and 12. 10 and 13 was when I was really, really bad when I got to hitting that rock bottom. Because you start to dabble with things like, oh, I heard the hair of the dog maybe makes you feel better the next morning. And that's how day drinking starts, you know? So it was just one thing after another. When I knew it was time, my rock bottom was very ugly. I ran away. I had a husband who loved me. I had a home, but he was a very, very busy businessman. And so he was gone a lot. And so I was very lonely. And it was just the perfect storm to fuel my addiction. And the rock bottom was running away, basically, because I thought my family would be better off without me and that they didn't need me. I was a mess. Did not feel like I brought any value to them. My self esteem was non existent. And so I left and I actually ended up on the streets of St. Louis, Missouri, living on the
Wow.
streets for a week. And it was nothing short of a completely spiritual experience, to be honest. When I
You're
look
lucky you're actually lucky to be alive, to be honest.
completely, I mean,
Yeah.
there
You're like,
was
not your time.
no, and it was literally like I was being handed off from each person to this person to this person until got home. Like I literally felt like there was a divine intervention just
Wow.
watching over me and keeping me safe in a place I had no business being. It was crazy. And when I got back home, it was just like I was done. I'm like, I'm done. And what was really interesting is that for alcohol addiction, coming off of alcohol can kill you. So you can't cold turkey. They need to wean you off of it or get you some medication. I ended up going cold turkey and I had no DTs. I didn't have any shakes. I wasn't sick. But prior to that, I couldn't go 4 hours. I couldn't have made it hours without alcohol. And I would start to get the shakes and I would get sick and my body would react. But once it was done, it was like it was just done. And that was when I started to rebuild my life and go, I have to stop this. And nobody was coming for me. I had to do it for myself. I kept wanting somebody to save me. I wanted my husband to save me, stop me, somebody help me. And I realized I had to be the one to do that.
Yeah.
It was nobody else's job. It was mine.
I was just gonna
And
ask you for women feeling the same way because we're of the same vintage, and I can see that when you said your children, and I've had a lot of friends, and I know a lot of women out there that use alcohol, at 4 o'clock whilst they're cooking dinner, 1 glass, 2 glass, 3 glasses, all of a sudden a whole bottle without even realizing. And my son always says, Mum, it's not just smoking cigarettes. You have no idea that alcohol is probably worse. And I'm now coming to realize that, yes, it actually is worse. So if there's women out there feeling the same and it resonates, because I dare say there will be a ton of women, what is one thing that they need to hear?
that you don't need it, that you feel like it's what you need to kind of calm down or whatever reason you're using it for, because we use it because it works until it doesn't. But that when you can step into your authentic true self and start to look at what you need to heal or what needs to shift in your life. Like for me, I knew I needed to leave my marriage and I was terrified. I didn't want to. I didn't want to break up my family. And I knew that at the depth of my soul that I had to do that. And it wasn't until I was able to do that that I could really, truly, deeply heal. So whatever you're avoiding or however you're masking to try to pretend like you're fitting in the life that you have, it's facing that. It's facing that thing that you're trying to avoid. Yeah.
So on the opposite end, what did you do?
I put myself into a treatment facility that spoke to me, which was alternative healing modalities. We had acupuncture and we did yoga and we had horse therapy. And it spoke to me in all the ways that I valued that I didn't have previously. And so I did that. And then I just started on a very big journey of discovering who I was when I wasn't people pleasing and taking care of everybody else and putting everybody else's needs first. It was who was I and what did I need? It's a very spiritual journey, healing and getting to know yourself and trying lots of different things to find out what landed for me, what spoke to me, what worked for me. Saw a lot of therapists, I had a lot of coaches, I did a lot of alternative therapies, and just I found what worked for me because everybody's different. There's no one right way to do anything, I don't think. Everybody's journey is their own. So finding what works for them. And that's when I learned that I had this horrible anxiety that I'd always lived with it. I didn't know I was anxious. And once
Did
I
you come
started,
across even keel?
yeah, I don't have it anymore. It went away.
How did it go away?
I healed it. I did all the things that terrified me. I faced all those demons and it took years. It literally took years, but I kept doing the things that scared me that were within reason, not like going down dark alleys in the middle of the night kind of scare me, but that scare me. I did all those things that scared me to prove to myself that that fear that I had was nothing but smoke and mirrors. That I would get so worried about something, about the thought about going to do something, and then I'd make myself do it. And then on the other side, I'd be like, what was, there was nothing there. There was
Yeah.
nothing to be afraid of. And then the next time I might still be scared. And it's like, remember last time it was okay. Okay, do it again. I had to train my body. I had to rewire my nervous system and rewire my brain to learn that I could do things that I was afraid of doing. And a lot of them were social. A lot of them were reaching out to people. Forced myself to take a mortgage lending job where I had to go out and get my own business because it made me call people because I was terrified of people. And I had to learn that we were all just humans and that people weren't scary. Everybody really wanted to connect. And I learned
Well,
that I do
yeah.
one-on-one connections or small groups. I'm not a big party person. That's not where I enjoy things. So I honor that. I don't do big parties. I do small groups.
So tell me something, because we'll talk about how you help women and people now. If there's people out there, women out there listening to you and they're like, okay, that's me. I've done the thing and I've done centralizing my nervous system because it literally is the latest word. However, I think it's always should have been our word. We just didn't know it because the older you get, you realize, oh my God, I've not been centering one of my brains in my body. And I've just been functioning with this, not going deeper here in your gut. And because there's more than your gut. There's here, there's your gut, there's your brain, there's everything, right? Because at the
Yeah, we're
moment, I'm like,
complicated.
yeah, I know. And there'll be times that I'm like, what's going on, Kat Mak? I've fallen off the bandwagon. Hey, what's going on? Because it's going to happen.
Mhm.
What do you say to that person?
It's going back. Most of the time, you know what you need to center yourself and to balance yourself and to get back to middle. It's going back and doing those things because, like you said, we're all going to fall off the wagon, right? It's like for me, and I still do it. It's like I don't love exercising, and it's so important for my mental health. So angry going to the gym. I hate the gym. So you know what I did? I made myself do a anyway. We tend to eat the same meals. We fall back to, for Americans, it's burgers and fries and pizza. And there's certain meals that you just tend to gravitate towards. You're just going to shift it and make something healthy. But yeah, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It's a discipline, it's a shift. But once you do it,
Yeah.
it's like same thing, right? That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Thinking about it is much more work, is much worse.
Which is why I'm procrastinating.
Yeah,
So for women out there
not
that are
that bad.
procrastinating, okay, so what's one thing? I'm going to change the narrative now, right? So for women out there that are procrastinating, they know they need to do the thing to do the thing. What would be one tip you can give them?
I can procrastinate like nobody's business. I know the things I need to be doing. I can whittle away time and be like, too late. It's got to become a non negotiable. You can't think about it because if you
Yeah,
start up here, you're done. Game over.
yeah,
You just have to
yeah.
go do the thing. And Mel Robbins does the 5, 4, 3,
Five, four,
two,
three, two,
one,
one.
go.
Go.
Non negotiable. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. And when that little voice in your head starts going, oh, but I really want to stay in bed, or oh, just another cup of coffee, or whatever it is, nope, go. Set a timer, 5 minutes, I'm out the door. I get up in the morning and I put my gym clothes on. Now, I haven't been back to the gym since the bodybuilding competition, but I'm putting my gym clothes on because I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym. So I get up in the morning and I put my gym clothes on. It's one step in the right direction.
Your brain has memory. Muscle has memory. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, okay. I love, I got to hand it to Mel Robbins. 3, 2, 1 has been for me my game changer. And it's something that's so simple. And we're talking about a woman that's gone through a lot of ish as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's that simple. Why didn't I think of that? Like, seriously,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. And
Yep.
I'm like,
And just go.
times where
You
times
can't
where I
think.
said to myself, oh, I just don't want to do it. Just don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do it. And then I think, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, I'm not going to do what I need to do and not get to where I want to get to. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mhm. Or I'm gonna self-abandon and I'm gonna give up on myself. I'm not gonna go do that thing. And then I'm gonna
Yeah,
be disappointed in myself for not having integrity with myself and doing what I said I was gonna do for myself.
yeah. And then we get all
All on the inside. Mhm.
angry. So even
Yes.
thinking about it, my gut's like, oh, damn it. And I'm thinking, my brain's going, damn it, I've got to do that. I didn't do that yesterday.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. So
So you got to
after I get it,
find strategies that work. So now I'm like one of my girlfriends, she every morning she organizes, she has friends that she either goes for a walk or goes to the gym with. So she
yes,
combines two things, right? She's super extroverted and so she combines two things together. Her workouts, which she doesn't, love to do, but she gets to go have her social time. So then it makes the things she doesn't want to do more pleasant because she gets to do it with somebody that she really enjoys spending time with. So that's my
yeah,
next strategy. I'm like, even just to go for a
yeah,
walk or get out or do something to get the momentum going. Because once the momentum gets going, it kind of starts to carry itself. But it's boy, when you take a break from something, getting back going again, that's the hardest part. Once you get
yeah.
going again, smooth sailing, not a problem. You'll still have the mornings be like, oh, I don't want this.
I was listening to Marie Forleo recently. I listened to a podcast and she said, she was talking about, and I really love this strategy as well. And she's like, you know what? Don't do the easy stuff in the morning, which we know we shouldn't do. Do the hardest thing first. However, do the thing that gives you most joy, that's the most creative for your health, wealth, and happiness. So whether it be, I don't know, in terms of your business, do the thing that's the most creative, which is always going to be the hardest. And because you're fueled up in the morning, go ahead and do that. And I'm like, okay, so let's not talk about doing the mundane to do things like, oh, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Now do the stuff that really gives you joy.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to start the day. Yeah.
Man, that's so simple. Why do we keep it so complicated? Why?
It's a little brain. There's so many parts to us in there, right? It's like my little girl inner self is like, I just want to have ice cream, and then there's just so many parts to us that it's like, who's going to win today? And sometimes we just have to go do the hard thing no matter what. And like you said, and then you feel good about it too. It's like once you get that hard, either start with something that brings you joy and then going and do the hard task first in the work or whatever. And then you feel really good about yourself. You feel accomplished and it just builds momentum going that direction too. I
It
swear that's
really,
how
it's all about you, really, isn't it?
100%. 100%.
So
That's the
talk,
whole thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
about how I started my business, how I
Yeah,
started, of
okay.
course,
I'd
Sober
like to
Living.
know more. So that's where I want to know, how did it all eventuate? Because I'm just so glad that you are doing what you're doing because you're so needed. The beauty of what you're doing is you really are a product of your product. You're not like, hey, I bought this course and I've decided to be this and I'm an NLP practitioner, blah, blah. And to no disrespect, because I am as well, but I think I already had it in me, but I didn't know I had that thing till then it became trendy. And I'm like, oh, is that what NLP is? Okay. So, and it's from learned experience. So talk to me about Sober Living and how you help people.
Yeah. So when I went to treatment, it was my second time through treatment. And the first time they had told me about this thing called Sober Living. And they suggested that I go there. And I was like, nope, I got little kids. I got to get home. My husband needs help. I got to get back to my life. And the second time I went, they mentioned this thing called sober living, and I think I better do whatever we can do this time because I'm not doing this anymore. And so I stayed in a sober home, but it was an hour and a half from my home, my city, because there was nothing where I lived. And that surprised me because we had two small treatment facilities right in our town and right next one on either side of our town. And so I stayed there and it was everything that I needed because treatment facilities, you could stay there in the United States you get 28 days if you're lucky. And it's not even close to long enough. And then you go back home to where all the stressors are, and you easily fall right back into overwhelm and old patterns and people pleasing and all the things that got me into trouble in the first place. So staying in that sober home allowed me to stay around other people who were also, working on getting clean and sober, going through what I was going through. And I could come home and stay as long as I could. And then I could go back when I started to get stressed out and overwhelmed. And I started to recognize I started to learn about when my nervous system was sending me signals and like, oh, I got to go now. And I could gradually work my way back home. So I stayed there for 4 months and came back and forth.
Wow.
And it was everything that I needed. And when I left my sober home, I just knew I had to bring that to my city, to the people where we are. I'm like, they have to have this. And so I was a year clean and sober and I found the perfect house. Perfect house. And I was so close, but for some reason I could not pull the trigger on the purchase. And in hindsight, there's no way I was ready to take on that kind of an undertaking. I wasn't ready. It was way too much too soon.
Divine intervention.
And so 4 years later, I was looking at a house and I had a friend of mine send me a message saying, "Hey, the world needs your light right now." And I was like, "Hmm."
How
And
beautiful.
and I messaged her back later when I saw her and I was like, "Hey, what did you mean by that?" And she's a very intuitive soul and she said, "What were you doing at that time?" And I told her I was looking at this house down the block and I was thinking, "Well, that could maybe be a sober home, or if it didn't work, maybe my kid could use it because it's a duplex. Maybe the kids could move in at some point when they're in college." And she's like, "That's what you're supposed to do." And I knew it was the time. And I went, "Okay." It's time. And so I bought a house and I was terrified. And I bought my first house and it was a block away from me. And the first, I had two ladies to start. And in the first 6 months, we had four people. So it was very slow to get
Wow.
going because it was new to our city. It was new to everybody here. And it wasn't long before we were full and
Ooh.
had a waiting list. And the word got out that we had this sober home, this place for women to come and heal. We had 8 beds in a beautiful home. And it was absolutely delightful, and I wanted to share with them all the things that I had learned, and just, here's everything that I learned, or if they needed something, it's like, "What do you need? Let's figure it out. What do you need on your journey? This is your journey and your life and your sobriety, and you get to choose." And so we would just find different things, whatever they needed, we would connect them to resources and bring in different practitioners, and we did yoga, and, oh my gosh, they hated yoga, hate yoga. And about my first couple ladies, and like 2 years later, they were like, "We're still doing yoga. I love yoga."
So good. See,
Yeah.
a small change can make such a big difference because of your
Yeah, it was huge.
experiences.
Yeah, and even in that first house, and I remember those first 2 ladies so beautifully, and I thought, if nothing, if there's nobody else but these 2, if nobody else gets better, but these 2 or just one of these, it will have been worth it.
Yeah,
Because it mattered to that one. And
yeah.
that has been my philosophy, that it doesn't matter. People come in all different stages. Sometimes they're just getting started. Sometimes they're partway through their journey. And sometimes we catch them at just the right moment that we get to watch them launch and just shift and go through this incredible metamorphosis. And I will tell you the most incredible things that I have seen happen in these homes. And we started with one house. I started with one house with 8 beds and a house manager. And we now have 44 beds, 4 homes, a
Oh my God,
transitional house.
amazing.
We serve women and infants, and not even women and infants. We had a couple, and she was in our sober home and he was in the men's home. And then she left the women's house, and then the baby moved into the men's house. And the baby
Wow,
ran the men's house for a while. It was the cutest. So
wow.
we just, whatever people need, whoever comes through our doors, we just do our best to serve them. And it's been crazy. It's been 6 years. This year will be 6 years. And it's been the most beautiful ride and the most incredible growth and journey. And it's just from the beginning to here, to see how far it's come and to see the lives that we've impacted and the people in the community that were considered not rehabilitatable, like they'll never get out of the system. I have people that have been in prison, had some really rough lives, and to see them come on the other side and then them bring along other people, like my lead house manager, she does all our admissions now. And she's like, "I just got this guy in. And when he saw me, he didn't recognize my name because she had a street name. And when he saw her, he was like, 'Last time I saw you, we were in a
You were
Jack and down this road doing, doing nasty things, not doing good things.' And now here they are on the other side. She's beautifully clean and sober 3 years, and now she's bringing along other people. And it's just the most beautiful thing because as you heal, all you want to do is go back and get the other people and go, 'Hey, we know the way out. Come on, we'll show you.' And we just walk with.
it's word of mouth, isn't it?
100%. Yep. And now they
Where
know we're
to from
here.
here?
Yeah.
Are you building more homes? Do you just do homes or do you do online as well? Where are you at? Where to next? Because I'm
I
looking
haven't.
at it and going,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think probably at some point in the not too distant future, I will do a handoff because the business is now, oh, I started out basically investing my own money into purchasing the houses and that sort of thing. And now we are just short of $1 million operation. And if you would
"What?
have told me that at the beginning, I would have said, I'm out. I would have never had the courage to start. I would have been terrified. I was scared as it was, but once I started helping people, it was infectious and I just had to keep going. And we've gotten contracts with our local organizations, our Department of Corrections, our counties, our Native American tribals groups. So we have all these contracts. So we help people get funding. So because they come in, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
get them funded until they can get on their feet and get a job, and then, move them to self-pay when they can. And it's been a journey, but it was little by little and lots of ups and downs. As anyone who started a business knows, there's times that you just wonder, are we going to pay the bills today? And
Yeah.
miraculously, when you're on the right path, doing what you're supposed to, it's like everything just works out. The money would just show up. And when I start to panic, I still have to remember, oh, that's right. This isn't about me. I get to be the conduit. And the money
Yes.
always, the resources always show up and the people always come, and it's always okay.
Energetically, I suppose when it feels good, it's always going to be good, even if the road is like this. And that, I think one of the key words is what you've just said. You can't do it alone. This is what I say all the time. And I see women out there that are amazing and they fall down the rabbit hole because we think we can do it ourselves because we've been conditioned to be the people. I was that people pleaser. I was you. I was
Mhm.
exactly you. And I'm like, you can't do it alone. You
No,
just
and the
can't
world
do
tells
it
us we're
alone.
supposed to, and it's a lie. If it wasn't for everybody that came alongside me, from the gentleman that helped me start up and do the webs that did my website and just encouraged me to close the deal on buying that first house, to the people that came along just at the right moments to do little bits and pieces. And you can't do it alone until it
No,
was big enough to where I could start to bring people on. And the house managers, they stay for free in exchange for room and board, so
I
they
love
help.
that.
Yeah, and they come up through the program, so people that have been in the houses, that's where we grow our house managers, because they know how we do things. Everybody is treated with respect and love. We have healthy boundaries and all of that, but we're humans first. It's not a business first. We're in the business of humans
Yes,
first.
I love that you said that. Love that you went. My philosophy. We're in the people business. Always will be. It's not about me. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about you.
Hmm.
And if we can leave our ego at the door, because a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff that we do is ego driven. So I love that you said that,
Yeah.
Michelle. Yeah.
Knowing that you don't know, I don't always have the right answer, but it's gonna
Are you
it's gonna
reading my
come.
mind? Are you reading? She's reading my mind right now. I'm like, we don't all know the answers. 2 years ago when I started this podcast and people were going to me, what, are you crazy? And I'm like, no, I'm feeling pulled that I need to do this. And I had mentors going to me, just do it. And I'm like, I don't know where it's going to lead. I didn't know that in if somebody had told me that I would be filming at the Burj Khalifa in January in Dubai of this year, I would have said, what, are you mad? What, are you mad? But I did it anyway. It was scary, but I did it anyway. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm in the business of helping you.
Yeah.
And don't ever stop. And your life may change, and it
Mhm.
probably will. But know that because of the stuff that you've gone through and done, I'm so happy that you exist in the world and that you're like, and this might seem really corny, right? But I have this vision of holding hands, just people holding hands and just passing the baton over, because that's what it is. And you're pulling them towards you because you've gone through the ish. And there's women out there the same. I know that there's women going picking up their kids and they're drunk, not even able to drive. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're
That was
not
me.
only going to, well, you're not only going to kill yourself, you're probably going to survive, but somebody else is going to die in the process. And that's not only with alcohol, it's with substance abuse as well.
Yeah.
Because I think the latest big thing at the moment, and always has been, because it's I'm not going to say always has been, and I'm not a medical professional. Please don't quote me. However, substance, alcohol, meds,
It
it's so,
alters.
yeah, and it's
Yeah, it alters us, and
everywhere.
we don't realize, especially the alcohol, because it's so socially acceptable. I didn't realize how when you already are struggling with a little bit of mental illness, with anxiety or depression or, ADD or OCD, they kind of all come together in a nice little package. It fuels that unhelpful thinking. The chemical, it affects the brain and it twists the thinking. And I never realized that until and that's why it's like you can't address the unhealthy thinking and the behavior and the mental health issues until you get rid of the substances because it's like putting gas on a fire. It just makes it all so much worse. And we feel better temporarily, but the after effects are so detrimental. Like after
Brain
the
fog,
alcohol wears off, it's still the chemical in the brain and what it does and how it twists the thinking.
brain
It's
fog,
unbelievable.
brain fog, brain fog. You can't
Mhm.
function during the day. And I'm gonna say it's happened to me many times as well. And I didn't start drinking actually till I was 35.
Yeah, and it's not to say nobody can drink, nobody can use substances because some people can, right?
Yeah,
I'm not an all or nothing person. I think people can use them, but just know and understand why you're using it and just being conscious about it. It's like I'm anxious. I'm going to use this alcohol to calm my anxiety. And I'm only going to have one, or I'm going to have one or two. And you're being intentional about it, right? That I don't think is a problem. It's when we're mindlessly consuming and it's reactive, and we're just, or it becomes a habit. This is just what I do every night. I come home and I have a glass of wine. It's like, well, do you really need it every night? Or is it just a habit? And it's so easy for habits to kick in, except the
I
gym.
love that you said that. I love that you said, "Is it just a habit?" Because let's think about this for a second. In bed, do we have dinner? No, we don't.
Mm-mm.
You take dinner in bed and you're like, "This is weird. Who does that?" Because our brain says we're not wired to eat dinner in bed, generally speaking. Mm, I'm just thinking about we said habit forming because I know we're talking about this, and I'm just thinking because I'm looking around going, "Oh, kitchen, fine, okay, habit." Maybe we just change where we're going and go, okay, well, I'm going to go to the dining room table. I don't drink there. So that's where I have my cup of tea or move the space.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It's like, what are your habits? What are you doing? Because it becomes this automatic, neural pathway that's just carved in your brain. It's like, oh, I come home, I grab a glass of wine, I start cooking dinner. And like you said, then it's the second glass and a third glass, and we're talking. And next thing you know, it's a whole bottle of wine. And it's unconscious. So it's
Yeah,
just becoming aware of what is your habit around it. And
yeah,
is it serving you or is it now controlling you? Do I need to shift? So
absolutely. So, Michelle, in closing, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I will ask you one last question. If you were to look at your 4-year-old self, not 5, because I know your mum passed at 4. What would you say to that little girl if you were to look in the mirror that's just behind us right now?
I would tell her that she is loved and she is valued, and that even though she can't see it sometimes, she's gonna have a really beautiful life, and that everything is absolutely happening for her highest and best good.
Yeah, and it really
Everything
is.
was directing me. Everything.
Yeah, the down was the direction.
It took me in this direction where I get to have real, authentic communication and relationships with all the people in my houses, and that is one of my biggest core values.
Love it. Thank you so much for jumping on the couch with me. I so appreciate you. I love what you do, and we need more of you, especially in Australia, because we're such yeah, seriously, in Australia, we just go, "Oh, it's 1 o'clock time somewhere in the world."
It's a habit.
It is a habit. Thank you so much. You have
Thank
a
you.
very good morning, good afternoon, and if you've loved this episode, make sure you subscribe because we have women like yourself that share gems, share your voice, share your vision, share your passion, and through passion creates movements. Through movements, we create legacies, and that's what it's all about. Thank you so much. Bye for now.